General finds out we've been fishing.
A quick peek can't hurt.
Did you hear that? Shit, I think our signal was traced.
This intro, it's almost an exact duplicate of The Matrix, even down to the lines the characters speak. I almost thought this movie was a reboot rather than an actual sequel. In fact, since the next scene is practically the same thing, I'm just going to go ahead and tack on 20 sins right off the bat for this sequel of a movie, practically copying the first movie in several scenes. There is nothing unique about any of the scenes that are copied, and it's done deliberately. She survives this. Seriously, these guys are at point-blank range and they all miss completely. I get that she's important to the story, but how do 3 programs with automatic weapons completely miss at this range? She seems surprised that this cop turned into an agent. Why? We find out later that it's been about 60 years since the war against the machines, but are they not teaching history to people that will be jacking into the Matrix? Also, why is she continually calling out to Seek? She's not on a phone, so how is he hearing her?
Do you understand that you are digital sentience?
I know what I am.
Digital sentience? They're programs. Why did they create a new term? The programs always knew what they were before. It's almost like this was trying to be a surprise, but the program already knows what he is.
Just like I know my job is to hunt down and destroy sentience like you.
Sentience? I'm pretty sure sentience are explained later on, and I'm pretty sure she's human.
Where?
It's not something I can explain easily, but...
This is the "no one can tell you what the Matrix is" line for this movie.
I saw this pattern, and it was everywhere.
Why would an agent be seeing Matrix code? Literally no one was able to see the code, other than on monitors from outside the Matrix, except Neo. Even if you could see the code, why would the mirror act like that? I'm not sure that the original movie even explained that, other than that Neo had taken a trace program. That didn't happen until after he took the red pill.
For the first time, I felt real purpose. I knew who I was and what I had to do.
And yet you kept following your programming?
I am Morpheus, and I have to find Neo.
So somehow Morpheus gets put into a computer program some 60 years after the war against the machines ends? I honestly think this is the only way they could come up with to bring him back and still have him be active in the movie, since otherwise he's too old to do anything. Still gonna sin it.
You have to be ready to leave. You have to be really ready. And if you're not, if you think that this is where you belong...
So the red pill, blue pill has been turned into you have to believe you're ready? It was a trace program, and there's no indication that that has been changed. They used it to find you in the original movie. Neo wasn't necessarily ready, he just didn't believe he was living in the real world. This guy is a program. He's also not attached to a person. If he wants to leave, then why does he even have to bother with the pill? They took the trace program and turned it into a non-choice choice. It's much more philosophical now, and it's annoying. 2 sins.
You call this a choice?
This isn't the first time this will happen or be talked about. 2 more sins.
Oh, honestly, when somebody offered me these things, I went off on binary conceptions of the world and said that there was no way I was swallowing some symbolic reduction of my life.
Binary conceptions. 5 sins since binary will be used on multiple occasions, and I got tired of hearing it.
The choice is an illusion.
Taking a line from the previous trilogy and making it affect the entire movie. In fact, this line is so bad that the other characters actually get mad at Neo when he doesn't take the red pill later on.
You already know what you have to do.
But he doesn't need the pill to do that.
Don't fight it.
What's happening?
Keep breathing.
So now the pill is basically a hallucinogenic?
Extraction works pretty much the same for humans and programs.
Huh? How? There's no human to extract. I get that it's explained, but it's not pretty much the same.
Agent, wait.
Agent Smith?
So they think he's Agent Smith? This is odd because it's explained later on that Agent Smith is inhabiting a different program. So maybe this is supposed to be Agent Smith 3.0? This sign, money being the root of all evil, this is the first of many attempts by the movie to speak out against Hollywood not being willing to innovate and just rehashing the same ideas over and over again, all in the quest for more money. Which is just hilarious, since this movie wouldn't have been made if it wasn't expected to make money. I'm just going to give the movie 20 sins right here.
That window! Go hard!
It is literally never explained how a window is the exit now. I'd understand if it was the exit for the program. It doesn't make sense that it's the exit for a person, though. So Neo is once again a bored programmer, only this time he's written a game about his experience in the Matrix, but he doesn't realize it's his experience in the Matrix. We find out later on that the machines know they have to keep him asleep, so why would you let him get anywhere near this kind of thing? See what I mean about binary?
First time I played the Trilogy, I was shook. The paradox between free will and destiny. Are we all just algorithms doing what we're supposed to do, or can we escape our programming?
We find out later on that all these guys, and others, are just programs that are meant to keep him grounded in the Matrix. The trouble is that it quickly becomes annoying. It would have been fine to have it happen 1 or 2 times, but it happens a ton and it just drags the movie down. 5 more sins.
Oh, yeah. There she is. Total effing MILF.
Do people actually talk like this in public? I've seen these kinds of comments on the internet and heard them in private conversation, but I don't think I've ever heard this kind of thing in public, and especially not in a coffee shop.
Millions of people just living out their lives. Oblivious. I always loved that line. You wrote that one, yeah?
We find out later on that the boss is actually Agent Smith, and the only reason he hasn't tried to kill Neo yet is because no one else can see him as Neo. I'm taking a sin off because they actually did this really well, and I wasn't expecting it to be Smith.
I'm sure you can understand why our beloved parent company, Warner Brothers, has decided to make a sequel to the trilogy.
What?
They informed me they're going to do it with or without us.
I thought they couldn't do that.
Oh, they can.
See what I mean about money and the root of all evil?
Not much of a choice.
I'm going to take off another sin here. Not because this character isn't deliberately trying to keep him from waking up again, but because this character turns out to be the analyst, which is a bit more than the average program. He's basically the program that's keeping everything held together, and I think they did a good job with the reveal.
Demanding you make a game you said you would never make. This attack effectively took away your voice. His violence triggered you, and your mind fought back. You did to him what he was doing to you.
Speech is violence? No, it's not. I didn't look at any reviews before I watched this movie, but this is just cringy. I'm going to guess that this is one of the reasons this movie didn't do very well.
Now, the packet in front of you has our focus group research.
How long has it been since the decision to make a sequel to the original trilogy of the game was made? 24 hours? Maybe a few days? How did they already get research from a focus group?
What made Matrix different? It effed with your head.
Nah, just the sequels, and even those weren't that bad.
I didn't love the first one, like some of you. And frankly, I've got zero tolerance for anything that requires a syllabus and a highlighter.
Making fun of the audience reaction to Matrix 2 and 3. 5 more sins.
I remember wanting a family, but was that because that's what women are supposed to want? How do you know if you want something yourself or if your upbringing programmed you to want it?
More woke BS. There's tons of this in the movie. Another 10 sins.
Yeah, we kept some kids entertained.
Some kids entertained? It was an amazing revolutionary movie. The sequels weren't as good, but they really are. There's really no reason at all for the movie to go out of its way to downplay its success.
Hi, this is Tiff. Oh, God, no.
I actually didn't notice this on my first viewing. He should be seeing Tiffany as the person in the reflection, but he isn't. I'm going to go ahead and take another sin off since he notices it and it's evidence for him that things aren't what they seem.
Follow my voice. Feel the tips of your fingers. What are they touching? The bell.
The implication is that he's been at his analyst the whole time talking about this and was put under some kind of hypnosis. It isn't fully explained though.
Free my mind. Okay. Free my mind.
Drunk Neo decides that he might be able to fly due to having flashbacks to what he now believes were complete hallucinations. I get that he's drunk, but I still think he'd have to be super drunk to think this is a good idea and will actually work.
They don't look like typical agents.
They use bots now skinned as normal people, which means they're everywhere, and you never know who to trust.
So, no different from the original Matrix, except that they all look normal. Seriously, this is the exact same warning Morpheus gave Neo in the first movie. Anyone else that's still plugged in is still considered a threat.
I don't remember this.
We don't have to run to phone booths anymore either.
Phone booths are no longer necessary, but it's never explained why.
Set and setting, right?
Oh, no.
It's all about set and setting.
After our first contact went so badly, we thought elements from your past might help ease you into the present.
We want you to take the red pill so bad that we figured we'd recreate the space where you originally took it, without considering the fact that you now believe that was all a hallucination. They just don't get it this time around that it's still a choice and it's not a false one.
No one can be told what the Matrix is, blah, blah, blah. You gotta see it to believe it.
So you're trying to use his game to wake him up, but you also seem to be making fun of it. Yet another reason why this is just bad.
But if it did, then we died.
Obviously not.
Just because you don't have the answer doesn't mean he's wrong. Neo and Trinity died. Acknowledging this would have gone a long way toward getting Neo to be willing to come along.
Maybe there's no foundation to the rumors that you disappeared because you were working with the machines from the beginning.
Morpheus, stop.
Why would Morpheus be the one leveling these accusations? He was a firm believer in the Matrix trilogy. Are they just seeking to tear down his character by having him become some kind of non-believer?
All I'm saying is this is the moment for you to show us what is real. If you want out, you'll take this pill.
And now they give him the non-choice choice. Take the pill to prove you aren't working for the machines. This is why the pill is now bullshit. It has taken on a whole different meaning and purpose than what it had before.
Morpheus!
Let's go, let's go!
If the mirror is irrelevant, why didn't they just destroy it before? The only purpose it served here was to reveal to the audience that the analyst is part of the system that's attempting to keep Neo asleep.
The construct in between everything and nothing.
This movie rehashes so much. I'm convinced they could have gotten rid of all the rehashing and saved about 30 minutes of runtime.
Careful. It'll do your head in.
No, it won't. He no longer believes it was all fake. He realizes that it all really happened.
Our memories turned into fiction any less real. Is reality based in memory nothing but fiction?
This is more of the movie trying to be overly philosophical about the previous trilogy when it didn't need to. Just stop.
Is that you wrote me as an algorithmic reflection of two forces that helped you become you. Morpheus and Agent Smith. A combo pack of counter-programming that was, let's just say, more than a little crazy making. But it worked because here we are.
It only worked because he threw you into a modal and ran the scenario on repeat until you woke up. Without that repeated scenario, you'd still be hunting Synthients.
Gotta be kidding.
Neo says exactly what the audience is thinking. He doesn't need this to work the other thing out of his system. He just needs some time. And Neo actually proves it by kicking his butt without even breaking a sweat.
It feels like everything I did. Everything we did. Like none of it mattered.
Movie attempts to rewrite history. Neo's sacrifice wasn't supposed to end the Matrix. What it was supposed to do, and Bugs just confirmed that it did, was end the war and allow people to leave the Matrix if they decided to. The movie doesn't tell us how many people decided to leave the Matrix. If reality tells us anything, though, a lot of people would choose to stay comfortably imprisoned.
It's okay. Come meet him. This is Sebebe. That's Octocles. That's Luminate.
Machines are on our side now?
Not all machines are bad. See, these ones are good. Maybe so, but the vast majority are still keeping humanity in a prison, and you're still fighting them to let humanity go. They don't do it because it means they'll die. So you can't expect all the machines to want to cooperate with you. In other words, this is a bunch of hippie nonsense bullshit that doesn't work in the real world. It literally doesn't work in the movie because they're forced to fight their way out in the end.
Not all seek to control. Just as not all wish to be free.
Yeah, but you're pissed at the ones that don't want to be free. You got mad at Neo because he didn't take the red pill the first time.
Even if it were Trinity and she wanted to be free, we have no idea how to do it.
And what you mean is that you don't know how to get close enough to her in the real world. Everything else you know how to do because it involves being in the Matrix.
General realized we were never going to beat the Sentinels, so we just got better at hiding from them.
How does this make you better at hiding? Does it block their sensors? Oh, that's right. They don't explain it. They just say this and move on.
A strawberry?
Using digital code from the Matrix, we retro-converted into DNA sequence.
From nothing. You created DNA from nothing. They use a lot of big words to explain how they're growing fruit, but this is still what it comes down to.
Zion could have never made something like this.
Maybe that's because they were always preparing for war. You have the luxury of no longer being at war, so you can now pursue other endeavors.
Because we needed synthients and DI like him.
What? Why? This is never explained. I'm just going to go ahead and tack on 10 more sins, since this scene is really nothing more than on Zion for not being willing to progress.
You're going to imprison me after I just got free.
I know it doesn't seem fair.
Doesn't seem fair? That's because it isn't fair. Though in fairness, it wasn't Niobe's decision to free Neo in the first place. So Niobe imprisons him and sends Bugs to wipe her hovercraft, but doesn't send anyone with Bugs to make sure she does that, and Neo can just walk out onto the balcony with no problem? This is so dumb.
Bugs has the same independence of mind she had the day you freed her.
This is not independence of mind. It's mutiny.
That's kind of what independence of mind is, when a group of people all agree on a course of action and it's a direct violation of orders. So those are the same things. The movie just wants them to be different.
Just like I know there's a part of you that's relieved now that he's gone.
We've worked so hard to keep Io safe. This scares me.
So wait, is she relieved or is she scared? Because it's kind of hard to be both.
This is a tough question, Neo, but it has to be asked. What if she's happy where she is?
This is that stupid again. She has to want to leave the Matrix, despite the fact that she already left the Matrix once and the machines imprisoned her again.
Take us to broadcast depth.
Why? I thought you didn't need to make phone calls anymore in order to enter the Matrix. If not, then why do you need to be at broadcast depth?
They also admit our only chance to get out of the General's doghouse is for you to find your mojo.
Why does Neo need to find his mojo again? Why is Neo being reset like this? These questions are never answered. In the first movie, he suspected the world wasn't real. They woke him up and he found out he was right. Then they had to free his mind from those constraints. None of that should be an issue now. We've already gone through the detoxing bit.
Smith.
Smith? As in the Smith?
I really like this scene. Except for the Merovingian, that part needs to get flushed, taking 10 sins off for how awesome this scene is.
This code is freaky. He's like an agent, but not.
That's because he's an agent combined with Neo's code.
We should go.
I can't. I have to talk to her.
Neo, those exiles were older than you and we barely handled them.
But you handled them and now they're gone. There's no point in leaving now when he can go meet and talk to Trinity before leaving.
However, as long as I managed to keep you close, but not too close, I discovered something incredible.
I happen to think this explanation is stupid, but it is an explanation. So I'm going to remove a sin, mostly because they finally start explaining things.
And you people believe the craziest shit.
The worst part about the explanation is that it seems to be injecting current events in a subtle way. You believe the craziest shit. Sadly, it's true, but I'm still going to sin it.
Sentinels? Worse.
General ordered me to look after the ship.
So you've shadowed us?
Another ship. Seriously? This is worse than machines that want to kill you?
You can stay here and die or come back and face a court-martial.
You call that a choice?
5 more sins for making a court-martial seem like it's worse than dying.
Niobe, don't blame Bugs.
Do shut your mouth. Do address me as general, and do not rob my ex-captain of her agency.
Near as I can tell, Neo is a civilian now. He doesn't have to address her as general. Yes, this is a nitpick, but the whole movie is just bad. Deal with it.
We met a long time ago.
I want to give WB or the casting director props for casting someone that looks like a grown-up version of Sati. Even though it's not the original actress, you might think it is. I certainly did. 1 sin off.
There were times I doubted my decision, Niobe. But Io needed you. This city needed to be built for your people as well as mine.
So Sati's been keeping this a secret for 60 years? She even knew who Neo was and didn't even try to wake him up while he was trapped? This is that collectivism BS again. It was all for the greater good. In that case, Neo needs to go back into this pod since they now have to worry about being attacked.
If I would have told you everything, you would have had a very difficult choice to make.
That's not a choice. Sorry, I couldn't resist using a line that's been repeatedly used in this movie when a scene so clearly calls out for it.
I need 2 more.
Without hesitation, they all step forward, taking another sin off.
But what matters is that this is her choice. Extracting a confused or an uncertain mind will, in all probability, kill her.
Since when? Neo puked shortly after his extraction because he was completely confused and didn't believe anything they were saying. Trinity and Neo have already both been woken up before. Seeing the real world again should simply be a reminder that they were just in a simulation.
When my father realized how the anomalium was going to be used, he covertly transferred the designs to me. The analyst discovered his betrayal and had my parents purged. I would have been murdered too if it wasn't for Kujaku. Not a day goes by that I don't grieve them.
Apparently the grief wasn't strong enough to tell Niobe that Neo was alive.
That's it. The bypass is ready. Now what? We wait.
So, I'm a little confused. Bugs has to have her consciousness plugged in. If Trinity says yes, what happens to Bugs? Does she stay plugged in?
My name is Trinity, and you better take your hands off of me.
I'll admit, I was waiting for the moment, and I love how they did it. 10 sins off.
Lies, lies, and more lies. Smith?
I also didn't see Smith showing up in this moment. I love that he's now going to fight with the analyst because he doesn't want to be imprisoned any longer. Another 20 sins off. Side note, my time codes for these 2 moments are exactly 1 minute apart. That's from the moment Tiff's husband Chad turns his eyes to when Smith walks onto the scene. Wait, what? How? Why was Bugs even needed if they were just going to disconnect them both anyway? I know they explained that they needed a replacement brain, but they never said anything about doing anything other than connecting that replacement brain. This just seems weird to me. Does their closeness only work when they aren't checked in? Because Neo touched her hand earlier in the warehouse and they were right next to each other even before that in the coffee shop.
Yeah, that's not happening.
1, why does he look at Trinity? Does he need her permission? 2, and more importantly, why can't he fly? He's been stopping bullets with his hands this whole time, and he's going to be steering rockets shortly, but he can't fly? Arrgh!
Neo, get on!
I guess this is why. Women's empowerment. Trinity has to be the one to save the day, despite Neo literally being the one. These guys are doing all of this based on orders from the analyst, right? He must know that Neo can just stop all the bullets and deflect all the rockets. Why did they bother continuing to shoot at him? Seeing this repeatedly doesn't make it cooler. You have to go hand to hand if you expect to have any chance of defeating him. This is part of what made the original Matrix trilogy cool. Neo would stop bullets one time and then a long kung fu fight scene would ensue.
I'm not doing this. Are you doing this?
Why is it that Trinity can suddenly fly and Neo can't? In the trilogy, Neo is the one that flew. Trinity could jump large distances like the rest of them, but she couldn't fly. Now all Neo can do is block bullets and redirect objects. It seems like Neo's powers were greatly neutered in order to make Trinity the hero of the story. They could have both easily flown at this point, or even earlier. I'm adding 20 cents for this.
I think I heard a shot. I think I heard a shot!
And we literally end in the same place that we were at the end of The Matrix. I'm a huge fan of the Matrix trilogy. I'm one of the few people that liked all 3 movies. I have the original movie on DVD as well as the follow-ups. I even have the game that was released. I'm telling you that to tell you this. I really wanted to like Matrix Resurrections. A lot. I was super hyped for this movie. I didn't see it in theaters because I just didn't get around to it. But as soon as it was available on video, I rented it. When I started it, I wondered what the hell was going on. About halfway through, I was disgusted with it. I finished it and declared that it was just a bad movie. That's also when I decided I was going to sin it. Anyway, I still don't understand why they felt like they needed to tear everything down in order to make this movie. There really wasn't anything wrong with the original Matrix trilogy. I'm sure some fans wanted more, but as far as I know, there wasn't a huge fan push to get another Matrix movie made. In fact, as far as I know, this was all on Lana and Lily Wachowski, until Lily decided she didn't want to be a part of it. Let me just say here and now, if this is the direction you are thinking of going, just stop. We absolutely don't need another Matrix movie. Leave it alone. This movie was such a huge disappointment. It's no wonder it didn't do well at the box office. It's like they wanted to cram nostalgic bits and references from all three movies into one movie and have it work, and it just doesn't. We get the black cat, we get Neo eating a steak dinner, we get the opening scene with Trinity, but it's not really Trinity. All the references are there and very in your face, but it was all very unnecessary. I said this is one of my sins, but it's almost like they just wanted to make a 2.5-hour movie, so they put in 30 minutes worth of references and callbacks in order to fill out the time. They could easily remove all that nonsense and have a much better movie. That's my take on it. I'll always enjoy the originals. I won't pretend Resurrections doesn't exist, but I will hold to my opinion that it's simply a very bad movie. Until next time.